Hello, everybody. Um, I've been, new people have been finding me, and I'm really happy about that. And I've received some interesting questions. And one individual contacted me and was asking me if my, what I perceive as the role of women, physical women, you know, being in control or ruling, okay? And I have a hunch it's to do with this. I guess there's some woman claiming to be the queen or something of the republic. And no, I absolutely that's not at all what I see the scriptures teaching us. Okay, because if it was about females ruling the world, well, we've had how many queens through the monarch? Okay, and how's that worked out? Okay, it is not about the who has physical control of our reality on earth, okay? And I can understand why at first this might be a little bit confusing, okay? Because we have been born in captivity. The human race, psychologically, all of us have been born into captivity. So we don't know. We don't even know we're in captivity. And the Bible does use females, the physical, body of the symbol of the woman is a powerful symbol in the scriptures. Okay, but for all my contemplation and study, the feminine, okay, is used to symbolize the inner being, our conscience, where our motives are, rise from, okay? Because they influence every decision and choice we make. And women, we know, have been victimized to an extreme degree, and the sex trade is a classic example. And women will adapt to that environment in order to survive and suppress their own inner conscience because they might get things provided for them and they might feel safe. And there can be many excuses that our conscience we will have a little conversation inside to justify subjecting ourselves to a situation that we know is not right. Okay? And that is a very unhealthy thing to do. Okay? So now going back to this state of this we're going to just keep seeing this whole dynamic, this global planetary power struggle, okay? And it's just going to keep fracturing now, as far as I can see in the scriptures. And so just to drive this point home, the way the spiritual energy of our conscience, that's what I believe the feminine energy is. It's the symbol for the invisible spiritual component, the other half of the human condition. Okay? And the physical body and the physical everything is like the male energy. Okay? Now, a man can want a woman. He can really want a woman, just like King David. He got really in a powerful position, and there's a powerful story. He had a war, and the soldiers had gone out, and he was up in his castle, and he looked down and he seen a woman, Bathsheba, who was bathing, and he got to see her, and he wanted her. He lusted for her. And you know what he did? He arranged so her husband would be killed in the battle. Okay, so he could take her. And you could say that's kind of so who does that husband represent? She was, in this place, in a society, in a civilization. Physically, there was this king, and he was wanting her, and he arranged so he could get her. Well, Rome also arranged, didn't they? Because they killed Jesus. And so you could say every person, every one of us who has that inner flame for a spirit, what's, spiritually right, loving, okay? And so then there's been a lot of manipulation that's been going on to try to capture the heart and soul of people, okay? And bring that part of us into captivity, like a prostitute, okay? And so a lot of what's been done is very unfair, okay? But now is the moment, now is the time that we can speak up and say, no, I was born into this captivity, okay? I am not choosing to subjugate myself to the rapists any longer at all, okay? And they can try to rape us, which is when they try to make mandates and try to force us to subjugate our body so we can have, dry, crusty bread and water in our cell, in our cubicle, okay? Because that's what's going on, okay? But allow our conscience to come up and say to the rapists, you do not dictate whether you're raping me or whether I'm agreeing to make love with you. You see, I choose who I cooperate with in this physical world. I choose. You don't choose. The rapist doesn't get to come along and say to a woman after he raped her, oh, I didn't rape you. Don't you remember I was gentle? No. You see, the part of your conscience, all of us, our conscience, it's the same, very similar, is that feeling when a woman knows what her motive was. Why did she choose, okay, to sleep and have sex with a man? What was her motive? Did she feel, oh, well, he's taking care of me, he's paying my bills, oh, well, okay, oh, give him some. Is that a reason? Really? Are we reducing our free will choice to a bartering to have our physical needs met? Okay? No. You see, once we awaken to the complete and absolute total freedom we have as children of God, okay, we say no. And we call out the rapists, okay? And some rapists, they might be really rich, and they maybe have been offering a lot of conveniences and privileges and all kinds of things like that, okay? And that is the part that's harder for us to see in ourselves, okay? Because we've been so conditioned to live in a spiritually subjugated state, okay? And so it will be emotionally and spiritually an extremely challenging moment to awaken to, okay? Because you're going to, if you allow yourself just, to forgive yourself, okay? Because we have been trying to survive for hundreds of years. And now we are being given our deliverance, because together we can stand united on our fundamental freedoms and rights, okay, which are all the origins come from the principles of what is right and wrong according to the scriptures. So, do I think there is some kind of special arrangement for ruling the human race that's going to come from women? No. We got to work it out. We got to work it out. It's going to be different everywhere. It's not going to be easy, okay? But we spiritually, okay, we're coming out of the closet, you could say, and we're going to admit to ourselves first, what have we been agreeing to? Not seeing an alternative up until now. Or the alternative just seemed so impossible, you know? And it's true. There'll be stories of women trying to escape from these terribly abusive situations, okay? And all of this exploitation of women done in society, and the exploitive sex trade, and all of that is like the mirror of the shadow reflecting in the world from both men and women's souls compromising and thinking there's no alternative. But there is an alternative. And the alternative is first to allow yourself to be fully free. Allow yourself to be true to what your heart tells you according to the highest principles you are aware of. Doesn't mean we have perfect understanding, okay? It's a process. It's a process. But the Bible promises the time will come when this happens. And so for myself, what I see is who I choose to cooperate with on the outside, okay? From my inner spiritual position is kind of like how we come and procreate together when we do make agreements with each other, okay? But the goal is to always be singularly true to your highest potential, okay? Which will be like the marriage of the Lamb that's prophesied. That's how I see it. When we begin to realize this world, okay, will only heal when each of us stop allowing our flesh and the impulses of the flesh, okay, and we give in to them, okay, and go against our own conscience, when we go against what we know is right, okay? Because the feeling when you go against your conscience is very similar, I believe, to when someone prostitutes themselves, because men are prostitutes too, okay? That's what I'm talking about. And so when the feminine energy rises and begins to come into her power, it's when we come into the pure, delivered state of our own free will and convictions, and we no longer will subjugate ourselves in any way at all. Like the account when Jesus, it was very close to when he was going to die, and there was a woman who everyone said, oh, she's, a dirty prostitute, and she brought this beautiful oil, perfumed oil, and she came in and she was crying And she was kissing his feet and wiping his feet with her hair. And she was just so thankful that he had forgiven her, because she didn't want to be in that situation. She didn't want to be. And she was looking and looking and looking for her deliverance, okay? And so we don't have to beat ourselves up, because we really have been simply trying to survive, the human race now, okay? We really, 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 what's been done to the human race is truly an abomination, a disgusting thing. And the Bible speaks about that a lot too, okay? It is tyrannical what has happened, okay? But we've contributed to it. Each of us, when we have also, it's like a sheep. Jesus said the sheep would be scattered, okay? And when sheep are scattered, they live in fear. And that's what's happened. But now we can come together. And when we're together, okay, the flock is what creates the protection, okay? And the great shepherd, Jesus, is like here in our intellect, our higher mind, okay? And so I hope that helps to explain this. And I want to just touch on something my son said he discovered, and it has to do with the Indigenous National. And that's a physical construct, okay? And yes, in the physical world, most likely, we're going to continually implode and reconstruct and implode and reconstruct down to a skeleton-like infrastructure or communications, okay, in order to maintain and support all these billions of people's lives on earth, okay? And we absolutely, it's time to get rid of the corruption, okay? So Babylon the Great, I was always taught, when she got consumed and her flesh eaten and burned with fire, as if it was the end of the world. And what I realize now, I think it's a beautiful metaphor for the cleansing process, the spiritual cleansing process of our conscience, that each one of us, each Christian is called to do. Come out of the shadow, come into the light, and allow ourselves to look at what we have been subjecting our body to and our conscience to our entire life, okay? And there might be a lot of corruption, like leprosy, like in our conscience, because, you know, depending how high up an individual might be in the governmental systems, you know, the bureaucrats and that, you know, what they have compromised and told themselves, well, everyone else is doing it, and if I don't do it, I'll lose my fair share, all that kind of justification to prostitute. That's what this is. Nothing else but that, okay? But that doesn't mean we can't be forgiven, okay? Forgive ourselves. That'll be the hardest thing to do. To admit to ourselves what we've done, okay? But Jesus, just like the story of the woman, he forgave her. And he said that what she did was so special, her story would be told forever. And I understand what it's for, because I did it too. I voluntarily joined a dangerous personality cult because I just couldn't see anything better at the time, okay? And because I was so desirous for spiritual food, I was willing to drink dirty water and eat contaminated food and it almost killed me. So I really want you all to know it's okay. Like, you'll make it. You'll make it. But it's not going to be easy. It's the accepting of the realization of what we've done to ourselves. That's the biggest first step. And there'll be a lot of anger, and we want revenge, okay? Because then what will happen is, you see, because it's also about being a victim, and that's like it's like a pendulum, okay? And when you know those wrecking balls, and they swing, and they bash, and the more leverage that wrecking ball has, okay, so it's like the more we go out of balance spiritually, like with all the archetypes, okay, it's like getting that ball really swinging. So if we fell into using the shadow side of our soul, okay, to survive, okay, it's like a wrecking ball, and then when it comes down and it goes the other way, it wants to attack and destroy everything on the other side. And so the victim energy can become extremely powerful predatorial energy, which is not necessarily wrong, because perhaps there are components of this civilization that really do need to be dismantled. Because in the book of Revelation, it does say Babylon the Great is completely, her flesh is eaten, okay, and she's burned with fire. It's a purification. And maybe the flesh is leprosy-like, okay, which is all the corruption and all the unjust things that have been created in the governmental system to create wealth for a select few at the detriment, like all indigenous people and poor people. It's quite a disgusting thing, and I do believe in justice, and I do believe a lot of people need to be completely and totally brought down, okay? They need to be held accountable, yes. For the crimes they've done, yes. All the ill-gotten gains that they've acquired in their positions, yeah, that all needs to be addressed, because there's going to be so much injury and liability and damages, okay? Do I understand? Do I have the solutions or the answers on how to correct this? No, I do not. But will the governmental side of the world is now forever going to shrink, okay? So it's kind of like this great beast. There's been kid shows made, you know, like what's that one? The Golden Compass, I think. Didn't she have, a pet polar bear? Yeah. Okay. It's kind of like that. It's like this huge governmental monster, okay? It's time to completely harness it, okay? Yeah. And recognize its attributes forever and always will be leaning to be predatorial, okay? So the predator and the prey, okay? This is a type of relationship that is difficult to comprehend, because it doesn't always have to be adversarial, okay? That's the important thing to understand. But how I perceive the feminine ruling is the spiritual inner consciousness awakening and deciding, this is the line, go no farther. I will no longer subjugate myself to your demands, your wants, Okay? Any longer. I will not participate ever again in an unjust system. It's over. It's forever over. Okay? That's how I perceive the feminine energy rising. And this is what men, not men, not literal men, but the system, the male energy system of the physical domain is waking up to. They are no longer, they are losing their victims now, okay? Their victims are saying, we're not going to be victimized anymore. And it's a process, okay? This is going to be a very, it's going to take us a while to recover as a species collectively. Yeah, I hope that helps explain my understanding, okay? My understanding. I'm no longer subject. I was born, yes, I was born into the system, born in captivity, which is spoken about in the Bible. My parents registered me, I got all that, okay? So that's the citizenship and everything. So you could say it's like we have dual citizenship. That's what this is. So spiritually, we awaken that we're a child of God in the kingdom of God. But our physical bodies were born in captivity. So, that's the metaphor for Egypt, Sodom, and Gomorrah, and all of them. All of those, the examples of the Jewish people that were, taken captivity into Babylon, and then the children that were born there. Okay? It's repeated over and over again. Okay? And so how we go forward and what gets birthed will be in proportion to how true we are in our heart, to our inner self, our inner knowing, our inner conscience. Okay? The child that gets born, okay? So the more that these two halves can come to an agreement based on love and not exploitation, not that, okay? Not fear. Oh, we're going to die, we won't survive. Okay? We're way past that now because fear does not have the strength to conceive life. You see, love does. In fact, there's a beautiful scripture where it says, love casts fear out. Yeah. So, anyways, 28 minutes. I hope that helps. Bye, friends.